Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Darlingtons.
Welcome back to our humble abode.
This is Life with the Darlingtons. We finally did it right.
I got very strict instructions before we started shooting about dragging.
My name is Busiso Darlington, and of course, I'm with this lady right here.
Guys. To all those who have subscribed to our channel, thank you so much. We truly do appreciate it. And to those who haven't subscribed, please click on the subscribe button right now.
And please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and make sure to click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our uploads. Right, so today's a bit of a different day.
I think
we thought we should bring... Is it something serious?
No, I think it's just a general conversation, just from observing and just having like personal experiences with these sort of encounters. And I think growing up as well, because I think that's the one thing that has opened us up to a lot of needing to have conversations.
Yeah, somebody said I must look at the camera a bit more also.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm just going to sit here and smile.
Wow, okay. So guys, why are people offended by confrontation? So we have a little quote here that says, sometimes confrontations are necessary to avoid situations that confrontation can't fix. Okay, so what are situations that confrontation can't fix, though?
I think this is a time where now the situation has gotten so much out of control, and being confrontational about it probably makes it worse. I think. Oh my God, my wedding ring.
Anywho,
is in the room.
Anywho, so yeah, I think
I'm tempted to get my wedding ring. Let me go get my wedding ring.
Oh my word. No, babe, it's fine. No, leave it, it's fine.
I feel uncomfortable though.
Excuse.
I feel empty.
Excuse. Shame. So confrontations are conversations. That much we can agree about, right?
The hard conversations.
Hard conversations, but conversations nonetheless. Yeah. So I have a question for you. Okay, no, it's not really for you, but a question. Why?
We have a question.
Yes. Is confrontation a good or a bad thing, would you say?
Confrontations are a brilliant thing. I think, in fact, it's important to have a context of, are we trying to build this relationship or are we trying to destroy this relationship? So I think we are speaking from a context, obviously, of people who are in a relationship where they love each other and they want more out of this relationship. Boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, friendship, brother, sister,
any type of relationship,
whatever it is, but I think at the core of that relationship is obviously we love each other and we're not trying to destroy this thing, but we're trying to
make it work.
Yes, precisely. So I think confrontations are a good thing. I think confrontations are a good thing. I'll tell you why. Can I say why?
Go for it.
I think confrontations have a lot to do with testing our level of communication and our skill in communication as well. Because I think a confrontation is meant to communicate. And I think it's also something that has a lot of a sense of accountability as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where maybe there's something wrong with you, and then maybe you did something wrong to me, or whatever the case is, and as a way for me to keep you accountable, I have to come and say, hey man, this thing there, so I think it has a lot to do with communication as well, and how effectively we can communicate as a people. With that being said, I think confrontations are a good thing. And you?
100%. I think I am quite confrontation, but I think the word confrontation, I feel makes the sound very harsh, like like
Especially when you look at the dictionary description of confrontation, it really makes it like it's war. I don't know. Can you check on your phone?
Come face to face with someone with hostile or argumentative intent. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they speak about something completely different, contrary to what we trying to, or how we as a people maybe understand confrontation. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. So I think the context of the word in itself is very like aggressive.
Yeah, it's war.
Yes, I'm here to challenge you, right? But I think Rona had the context in the understand or that we wanted to kind of rather talk about was addressing things.
Yeah.
Addressing things.
Isn't mulata?
Yeah, no. Yeah, but addressing things and the importance of addressing things, going back to Tanubwakayona, valuing relationships and knowing, or rather fighting for the relationship or honoring the relationship enough to understand or to want to fix it. Cutting people off and hey, that's another conversation. Yeah, but I think addressing things rather here. That's why we use the word confrontation so much anymore, because now we understand. It's.
I think how we as a people have always understood confrontation, I do think it's a bit different to what the dictionary says confrontation is. Because when they give one description, but I think to us confrontation is broad. You know, like in our human context, in terms of our day-to-day life.
I hear you.
Because sometimes I need to confront you about. My mom was making an example of somebody from her workplace, Anna Sharp, and then they needed to sit her down. To say, hey man, there's something wrong. Let's look at this thing, and and it was out of love that this was happening. To say, we can't just let you go on like this, like everything's okay, but we are aware that there's something wrong, and we just have to bring you to the light to say, hey man, are you aware about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that we can get to a better place.
100%.
So why do people not take confrontation well?
Approach, I believe. Personally, I think approach is everything. But even in saying that, I know there are people who prefer not to address things and just kind of let things flow or just kind of let it go. We don't have to talk about it really. But I think the core thing is but to really be offended about confrontation or feel uncomfortable addressing a certain issue with approach. Because some people really come or another thing, I strongly believe if you are willing to address something, you as well need to be willing to take accountability for your part in the situation. Should there be something maybe to say, but the reason why this happened is because I felt like you did 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to be open and willing to take accountability as well.
I think that's so important what you're saying, because I think it ties in a lot with how important communication actually is and the skill of communication, because how we are about approach is the thing that determines how this conversation is actually going to go. Is it going to go to hell? Kappa, are we actually going to understand each other and get to a conclusion for the both of us, where we understand, And then you said something about addressing issues, or also whether the willingness to address issues also, which I think is critical, because if you're not willing to take confrontation well, it means you're not willing to address issues, which means now we're going to sit with issues busy piling up until one day we deal with an explosion. And I think this is what this code means, to say sometimes confrontations are necessary to avoid situations that confrontation can't fix. I think that's where now everything has piled up to a level where it's a huge disaster now, and everything's just spiraling out of control, and
just
emotions are high.
It won't necessarily be the easiest thing because there's so much.
And I think the danger with that, it sparks a lot of emotions. Where now by the time we have to sit down and talk about these things, like there's something I've been doing that's been annoying you for so long, and this thing has actually been getting to you, and after this is that, and after that it's that, and after this is that, you know. Now when you need to come to me and say I'm tired, it's literally from a point of view being tired.
And I've made up my mind about so many things that could have. Yeah, actually that just reminded me of a situation that I had with a friend of mine actually. How things built up. Yeah, things built up more so on her side because she wasn't addressing things with me. Things that now in hindsight, because ultimately, eventually we did get to kind of talk about some of the things. I'm like, but you know, like a mere conversation
could have spoken really, about that.
Yes, literally, about anything at all. So yeah.
And just to add on what you say, because when you started mentioning that, I smiled, and I don't even know like what you're talking about exactly, right? But I was just smiling because I relate to that so much, because I'm thinking I've got so many relationships that were destroyed out of not being confrontational about issues. You know what I'm saying? And as you're busy speaking, another thing that I thought about was, I think majority of the things that we face in relationships, whether friendships or whatever it may be, get the element of context and perspective.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Hence you're saying, yeah, but a mere conversation would have just, you know, dealt with that, you know, because I think that's because there's a perspective on this end, what that actually was and what the situation was like, contrary to what the perspective is on that side. And a confrontation is just going to help with merging those two together, because we're trying to communicate and get to a level of understanding, you know. So 100%. I relate so much with that, because I've got relationships with my boys that were destroyed by lack of confrontation. And I think a lot of the challenge, I was the confrontational one, you know, but also the approach thing that you were talking about, you know, on my behalf, sometimes the approach thing was not necessarily the one.
The best.
Yes, you know, even though what you are trying to do is to get to a point where we can talk about these issues and resolve these issues, but the approach is so wrong that other people shut down and, you know, they take offended and, you know,
or they don't respond well to it.
You know. So I think definitely what you said in terms of approach, I think it's a big part of this conversation.
That's true.
Yeah, that's because true. it ties to so much. It ties to so much perspective and all these things.
Yeah, in my life as well, I have people who don't necessarily like addressing things and but what I've noticed, the approach that I would then take, it's more open to even having the conversation, much as they would much rather not have it, but because of the approach when I winkiling, now they're open to having the conversation because, well, okay, we're here now. I'm not just gonna brush it off. For contrary to if Nikitlaka then would have been another thing to say. First of all, I don't even want to have this conversation with you because I don't feel like it's necessary. Second of all, come to me correct. You know?
Yeah.
So approach, I think, is definitely everything. You're not a diffusing situation. You're not addressing situations uncomfortable. How you do it, even if it's an uncomfortable situation to have, I just feel like it's so important to be had.
What kind of platform are we creating for ourselves, you know? Are you creating a platform of sympathy and accountability and love and honesty and integrity and kindness, you know?
Or are you just there to just point fingers?
Or are you just there to point fingers also and you just want them to say sorry? Or just you crapping on their head the whole time? Or like, what are we doing here? Like, you know what I'm saying?
You, and then they must just sit there and take it also.
Yeah. I hear you. That's pretty good. I like that.
And how would you say you handle confrontations?
I think at this point in my life, I handle confrontations extremely well. You know, I was having a meeting with one of our leaders from church the other day, and I was having this conversation with him to say, for me, the main thing was, let's have a space or rather, let's open communication channels, right? So that when there's something wrong happening, or there's something that shouldn't be happening like that, or maybe there's something happening but it's not exactly happening the way, or anything like that, because the nature of our church is also built on performance and high performance. Sometimes you see people slacking and all these things here. So how do we deal with that? And so for me, the point was that let's be confrontational about things, because what I receive from confrontation is you are trying to correct me and rebuke me and understand more than anything. And for me, that speaks more to love. Is you are trying to get something right that's not going right. Hence, let's have the hard conversation. Let's deal with this thing head on. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think that speaks to a lot of love more than anything. So I think I'm at a point in my life where I appreciate confrontation, because I think for me also confrontation helps you suss out where are you in people's lives. You know what I'm saying? And it gets you right to the core of what that is. I like that. Where let's deal with the crux of the issues and get right to the heart of this thing. And when somebody truly cares about you, they actually do fight for you. So I think
I like that.
So I think confrontations, with where I am now, they just help with that.
Oh, I like that so much. I think it's always been the same for me. My husband now wants to disagree that I take confrontations well, because of an incident that we recently had, where he felt he was confronting. He felt like he was confronting a situation that wasn't sitting well with him, right? But not realizing all of these other things surrounding the issue. So my reaction to that was a bit emotional, and I just kinkile kapelu, right? Because I feel the approach wasn't necessarily conducive for me to say anything opposing to.
But that's unfair for you to say, though.
Then my problem was not communicating that to him, because kilaba emotionally, and then I was just like emotional.
But my point was this, though. For you to even be emotional about it, that in itself was a problem for me, because in the context of that conversation, I said to you, when we had the conversation in our marriage check-in, maybe we'll just link that up there. When we had the conversation in our marriage check-in, you asked me a question and you said, babe, what do you want us to take into the next year? Right? And then I said, love and respect and teamwork. And in teamwork, what I was actually saying, understanding that it's me and you against the world, never you and me against each other. And that comes with understanding that there's nothing that I'll ever do or say it's meant to hurt you, or it's malicious, or
100%,
or the intention is to offend you, or anything like that. All right? But just understanding that whatever it is, it's just done out of love and respect and all of these things. That is us building a foundation, right? So my expectation then becomes, when a situation arises, you can't then get that under the context of this guy's actually offending me. You know what I'm saying? Because we are trying to build on a basis and a foundation where if I did say something wrong, or if I did do something wrong and it looked the way that it did to you, or it sounded the way that it did to you, then there's an actual platform where you can say, hey, right there, but that thing though, that's the thing that's just not cool.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And we're able to have a conversation and talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
And I am with you, Gayon. But however, I'm saying still, like there's a reality sort of something that I think we're taking away from the situation, because like I'm saying, when we had the conversation, like there were all of these other things surrounding that conversation that you were trying to get us to have, and it's not always like that in every conversation we have. It was that specific one where I then felt like, I just felt very overwhelmed. Exactly. I felt like I'm overwhelmed now, and I get able to respond more. I get to burst.
But I was frustrated though as well.
I know.
And I was saying all these things because I was at a point where I'm actually frustrated.
I understand that.
You know?
And I felt like in that moment, I'm just saying in that moment, I felt like I didn't have a response, and I much rather would just, because of the approach, I feel, and everything else surrounding the situation, because it felt like, but this is like, every time we have a conversation about this specific thing, you're always saying the same thing. When are we going to move from that? When are we? So never if you feel like working like. So my husband feels like I don't take confrontations well because of that situation that happened then. However, I think probably everyone else in my life would disagree because of how I really like addressing things, like how wholly my friends, because like we said about the whole valuing relationships thing and stuff like that. I don't think it's worth just losing a friend over something that you could have said, when that happened in Fidi Stage. Nah, let's talk about it, let me apologize. Because I know with those people, back, intentions are always pure.
Yeah.
My intentions are pure towards them and theirs towards mine. Just like Luki saying, of which I've never really had, with the people in my life now and stuff.
It means we don't want that relationship.
Yeah, but I'm grateful anyway for the ability and the willingness that's always there, even with the people around me, to say, you know,
what's going on here?
Yeah. And affirming one another as well. And just like one thing about my friends, and I feel like the people around me, they're very loud about how they love. And I appreciate that so much, because that gives us the space also because when we're happy, we talk about it, and I tell you how much I appreciate you, and vice versa. So last time when I did anything, I'm still as vocal, because let's talk about it. Let's do better, guy. I recently even had a friend of mine confront me also about, let's do better. Being intentional about our friendship. And I was like, I love you so much for that. Yeah.
So how do confrontations add value? That'll be the final point I think we touch on.
Yeah.
I think we've said it though, up to so far.
I agree.
Clearly there's a lot of value in confrontation, where things are better spoken than unspoken.
Yes. Yes.
For the sake of the value of our relationship. And like we said earlier on, we really fight for the things we want and the things we love. And when something is wrong, you really want to fix it. This is why when you feel a pain, you want to fix it by getting medication or something. And I think it's the same concept we need to apply into our relationships as well. To say, when there's something wrong, let's not wait for it to first get rotten before we do something about it. And I think it's an important thing you mentioned about affirmations.
Yes.
When I referred to you to this meeting that I had with one of our leaders at church, before we actually got into what we needed to speak about, because a lot of it had to do with like addressing real issues, and how I opened up that conversation was by affirmation, like you said, what I'm saying, because I think that was the thing that creates the kind of atmosphere we are going to be communicating in, and setting up a foundation and sort of like a context also to say this is from the place we are talking from, so of which I think that's very important, and I think boys need to start doing that a lot as well. Get into a point where we can have heart to heart actually, because that's just being honest with each other. Is there something I didn't like? Is there something I didn't appreciate? So I really think there's a lot of value in confrontations, 100%. To stabilize relationships and actually build healthy, strong relationships
100%.
that are long. I feel, let me just add this, I'm sorry, babe. I feel we live in a world now where relationships don't necessarily last, be it friendship, whether even sibling kind of relationships, you know, those don't even last. And I think it's on the account of we're actually unable to talk about things and confront issues head on, you know, and affirm each other, like you said, you know, because in fact, I feel like that affirmation thing is so important to be number one, so that everything that comes after that, direction, from what place are we actually speaking, you know, so that it filters down into the rest of the conversation. Yeah.
I think I get tout à fait just to communicate well, man. I think that's I think the basis of what we're saying. If you just learn to communicate well, because even with our siblings, we're very quick to kind of lash out and just say things and expect people to just accept things and all that, but not understanding our words spark emotions. They provoke certain emotions by tone and how we say or what. But no, but I feel like just because you really and sure that should be enough. You're supposed to take it and you're supposed to just do one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but like you say, maybe just setting the foundation. You know, say, well, this is a safe space, and everything I say after this that I'm telling you now really comes from a place of love, because I notice all of these other great things. So it's not to say that you're a horrible person. I'm not saying go die now because you did this. You know, but I am just saying this specific thing happened. It's not us against each other. It's an issue that we're trying to fix. Yes, I hate it. In situation, I apologize. Goodbye. It's just yeah, man, guys.
Yeah, man. So that's all we have. That's all we got for today. So please engage with us in the comment section and tell us what your guys' thoughts are.
Yes.
You know, do you agree with what we're saying? Do you disagree with what we're saying? Can you maybe add something on maybe something that we said? And yeah, let's continue the conversation in the comment section. We'd really appreciate that. And give this video a thumbs up if you like this video. You know? And
thank you guys.
Yeah, I'll see you guys on the next